Hey everybody, it's Abby, and in this episode of Business from Scratch, I'm sitting down with my longtime friend and incredible jewelry artist, Melissa Tyson. Melissa's story is one of courage, creativity, and starting over when life falls apart. We talk about how she built her fine jewelry brand from scratch, literally melting down her old pieces, and what it means to stay true to your art while running a successful business. If you've ever had to reinvent yourself or needed a reminder to keep going, this episode will hit home. You're listening to Business from Scratch, the podcast for people building businesses they love without losing themselves along the way. I'm your host, Abby McGee. Let's get started. I remember having a piece of yours back in the day when you were doing a lot of silver and quotes on things, and I had a necklace that I wore for a long time that was yours way back in the day. I don't even remember what year that was, but then I would buy your stuff for gifts, and then you just started like shifting over into fine jewelry land, and your business has evolved so much over the years, and I'm obsessed with you, and the stuff you create is next level, and it's been fun. I think it's been so fun for me to watch you grow and evolve as a human, but also as an artist, and see how your work has changed over the years. So, but I'm getting ahead of myself because I want you to be able to tell people real quick who you are and what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. I'm Melissa, and I'm a goldsmith, artisan, custom jewelry designer, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Still love it every single day.
Mm-hmm. It looks like you love it. I mean, you have so much fun.
I do.
It
It's fun.
it appears that way, and I know that a lot of times what we see on social media is one thing, and what it really is another.
Yeah.
So, um, do you really love it? Do you
No, I
really
really
have
do.
fun?
I
Yeah,
really still genuinely love it. It brings me so much joy.
that's great.
And I think because the way that I've sort of morphed the business
Mm-hmm.
and created this just like very curated custom experience for
Mm-hmm.
clients where I'm literally building each ring
Mm-hmm.
one at a time. Keeps it really interesting for me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm rarely replicating things.
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, "Oh, I want this one, but I want a bigger diamond and I want
Mm-hmm.
it set this way. Can we add some accents?" And
Mm-hmm.
so it's always, even if it's something similar to like one of my kind of signature pieces, it is always fresh. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's probably why I still love it as much as I do, because I have a lot of creative freedom.
How did you go from, because I know in the beginning you were doing collections, right? Where you
Yeah.
would create something and then you would
Yeah, like I had
replicate
a
it and
line, I
sell
was
it.
doing
Mm-hmm.
wholesale. I had 40 stores around the country
Mm-hmm.
that I was selling through, but then I had kids and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't keep up with the production and the
Mm-hmm.
inventory, and that was sort of sending me into a space of burnout
Mm-hmm.
because it was very high volume
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of repetition,
Mm-hmm.
and that I had kind of run my course with that. And
Well, that doesn't do well for the creative brain for very long. The
yeah,
replication of the same thing over and over.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
Do you consider yourself an artist who is an entrepreneur, or do you consider yourself an entrepreneur who happens to be an artist?
Hmm. Well, I think, you know, part of how I see myself is a bringer of beauty.
Mhm.
So I would say probably in like the deepest parts of who I am, an artist.
Mhm.
I think that the entrepreneur part just came naturally to me because I am very right and left brained.
Mhm.
So it wasn't as hard for me as I feel like some of the more creatives, because I do have the ability to sort of innovate and kind of push things forward.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say artist first, probably.
I know it comes naturally to you, but do you find that you have to intentionally cultivate both sides, right? I mean, and as
Yeah.
an artist, I know, and I'm an artist too, so I get that you have to always be intentional about cultivating that side of yourself. And probably the same is true for the business side, is that
Yeah.
you can kind of get stuck in,
I'm going to focus all my energy into creating these pieces, but you also have to reserve some and for the business part. Um, so what do you do to nurture the business side of yourself since you are so deeply creative and that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people?
Yeah.
So what would you say to the creatives, the artists who want their art to be a business, but that part is feels like more of a struggle?
To study and learn. I mean, I
Mhm.
love to learn, so I'm constantly taking online courses that relate to
Mhm.
business and marketing and I'm fascinated with it.
Mhm.
So I think because it is a very integral part, you can't just be an artist and
Mhm.
especially when you're starting off, you can't afford to hire people that are better than you in all of these things like
Mhm.
bookkeepers and CPAs and a marketing team and well
Mhm.
all the things now that I'm able to put into place but
Mhm.
then you're a one man show. I was
Mhm.
like all the hats are on
Mhm.
me, so
Well, and even if you can't afford it, you still need to understand it.
correct
So if
and
you have the money to invest into
right.
marketing and an accountant and a CPA, but you don't understand what they're doing, then
Yeah.
you're just like spinning your wheels.
Yes, agreed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think for me, I love to, there's so much information available to all of us, and it's very inexpensive and readily available. And there's so many
Mhm.
very smart people that are willing to share their information on how
Mhm.
to build a business and how
Yeah.
to do these things. So, I mean, I'm constantly like, my husband always jokes at me and he's like, oh my God, you're like their favorite kind of person. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy their course. I'll go through their training because
Uh-huh.
I want to know. I want to
Mhm.
learn. Like I
Mhm.
don't ever want to stop learning. And I think that
Mhm.
that's the beauty of being an artist or an entrepreneur is that we can continue to learn for the rest of our life and never
Mhm.
learn everything that there is to know. So I
Right.
mean, I feel like there's always something new to learn in the world of business,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, artistry, like all of it.
Mhm.
And I think it's super fun.
I do
So
too.
I love to learn. So
Mhm.
I think that that's been very beneficial to me because I haven't been resistant to it. I'm always seeking it out.
Mhm. That's great. Um, how do you balance if because you are a creative, you're an artist and our art is so important to us, but you also have a customer, right? You also have a client
Mm.
who has thoughts and ideas about how they want their thing. How do you balance letting being true to who you are as an artist to also providing them the very specific thing that they've asked for?
That one is a fine line, especially
Mhm.
when we're kind of talking about engagement rings, which is kind of the number one thing that I
Mhm.
create. So people are highly emotional about the
Mhm.
ring that they're creating, and rightly so. I mean, it's a very kind of milestone marker kind of piece. So,
Mhm.
but if they come with kind of some real wild ideas, I usually will give my honest opinion
Mhm.
with a disclaimer saying, I would do this way.
Mhm.
However, if your heart is completely set on this,
Mhm.
these are the reasons why I think that it would not be a good idea. However, I will absolutely create it if you are
Mhm.
100% set on it. Like, for instance, sometimes people come and they're like, oh, I want to do an opal engagement ring. I'm like, well, that's a terrible idea. Opal is one of the softest stones. You're going to
Uh-huh.
damage it. You're going to put your hands in your dish soap and you're going
Mhm.
to discolor the opal. You're going to chip it. You're going to crack it. But if you're up for high maintenance and
Mhm.
you understand that this is going to cause you to need to have repair on your ring often,
Mhm.
then I will do it for you. But I need you to understand that this is not a good idea. And you should
Mhm.
choose a stone that's higher on the hardness scale because you're going to be wearing it every day. So I like to kind of like frame it like that.
Mhm.
I'm very honest and forthcoming with what I share with people, even if I think it's not a good idea.
Mhm.
But I still make it. I'm like, well, if you want to
Yeah.
spend your money on it, that's
Yeah.
what you want to do, then I will do it. But
Yeah. For sure.
don't recommend it.
Yeah. So you and I both have businesses that are in the kind of the luxury
Yep.
space. So the catering company that I own, we specialize in kind of that luxury space. So we have a lot of high-end clients. We have a lot of clients with the money to spend and lots of ideas and opinions about how they want the thing. But you
Hmm.
also have, again, you have to balance that with this is who we are. This
Yeah.
is what we do.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of meet in the middle and give them what they want, but also know that your reputation and your brand is on the line too. And
Correct.
have you ever turned down
Yes.
a commission
Yes.
because of that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've gotten better over the years about saying no. If I can tell if there's red flags in the
Mhm.
conversation, or if it's just a piece that I'm like, hard no, I
Mhm.
don't want my name associated with that,
Mhm.
then I'll very gently price myself out of the ring.
Mhm.
Or I will just say, hey, I've got some friends in town that own jewelry stores. This would be a great fit for them. Like,
Yeah.
if you want a mass produced, like, cookie cutter bubblegum ring,
Mhm.
just go visit them. They'll take great care of
Yeah.
you. That's where you need to go. Like, this is not, you don't want to pay me this much to create something that
Mhm.
generic. Like, you don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Do you feel like that's something you can do now that you are more established and you have a very well-known reputation, or do you feel like that's something that you've done from the very beginning?
Mm-mm. It took me a long time to learn how to say no
Mhm.
in life and in business,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh my gosh, when you're an entrepreneur and you're just making things one at a time, you're like, oh well, you know, I have to take this because it's
Mhm.
revenue coming
Mhm.
in. But it once it turns around and bites you a few times
Mhm.
over the years, you're like, oh, wait, maybe in hindsight, I should have said no to begin with, and that would have saved me months of
Yeah.
heartache. So that was a long term lesson. And I'm
Yeah.
only just now getting better at it. I wouldn't even say that I'm 100% at it. I'm
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have mixed feelings about it, because in the beginning we said yes to everything too,
sure.
because you have to. You're
Right.
trying to pay your bills
Right.
and trying to get your name out there and people to understand who you are. And we said yes to a lot of things that looking back now, like I don't want any pictures out of that.
Right.
I don't
Right.
want people to know that we did
Yep.
that. And it's really just recently in the past year that I've started telling my team, we can say no to things now.
Yeah. I
And
love
we are
that.
going to say no to things because I'm not going to do that event and people to put our name on it. And then that's what people think we do. But it took a minute, and I think in the beginning you have to balance it a little bit, but you have to say yes more than you say no in the beginning.
Yes.
And that's
Agreed.
hard. And then the backpedaling is hard too.
Yeah. I mean, that
So
just takes time. I think to
mhm.
to understand what you do want your name attached to and
Mhm.
what you want to do and what you don't want to do,
Mhm.
and yeah, that just takes I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, we're far into it and we're still learning these
Still learning
things.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real
Yeah.
time.
For sure. It's a case by case with us too, because we're such a kind of a custom service. We're not a cookie cutter,
Right.
come get a platter of this. We're custom, and so it's a case by case, and you do have to constantly evolve and figure out how you want to approach it.
Right.
But I think it's an important thing to be aware of from the beginning
Yes.
to kind of set yourself up for brand success somewhat.
Yeah.
And brand is something I wanted to talk to you about too, because you have
Mm,
such a specific brand. I mean,
mm.
Melissa Tyson is Melissa Tyson. We all when I hear that name, like I have very specific images come up about,
Hopefully good.
oh yeah, great, amazing, about who you are, not just as a jewelry maker, but as a person, and
Mm.
it comes through so elegantly and beautifully, and I appreciate that so much about you. So can you talk a little bit about how you've cultivated that brand? Because your jewelry has changed
Yeah, oh
over the
yeah.
years,
Yeah.
but I can look back to that first little silver necklace that I had and see you in it,
Mhm.
um, and see how that has evolved. Can you talk a little bit about that, about how you've changed as a person and about how that's reflected in how your art has changed, but yet still remained so much you?
Yeah. Okay. So, I think when I was first starting out, I tried to do a bunch of different styles and things that I thought
Mhm.
people would want. And then I I can't remember if it was just like a specific instance where I suddenly realized I was like, you know, my voice and my style of creativity is the thing that people gravitate towards the most, not the things
Mhm.
that I make that I think that people would want, but it's the things that I really put my heart and
Mhm.
soul into. And once I started to see that in the very beginning of creating, then it was sort of like an aha moment like,
Mhm.
oh, I can be exactly who I am. And I might not be for everybody. And
Mhm.
my jewelry might not be for the masses, but
Mhm.
the ones that connect to it, they connect deeply with it.
Mhm.
And then that gives me the fuel and the energy to continue to
Mhm.
create and make more things in the specific style. And I
Mhm.
think that even from back then when I was making, my production line and working in silver and doing things
Mhm.
very differently, I still feel like that's carried forward into the fine line that have been doing for like the last 15 years. There's
Mhm.
still there's a very common thread, and that is just
Mhm.
that I love creating things with works of the craftsman in
Mhm.
the piece where everything isn't fully polished and fully buffed out, and
Mhm.
there's evidence of hand working in the
Mhm.
piece, and that's been a common thread all the way through.
Yeah.
So even though it's like diamonds and gold and
Mhm.
very expensive pieces now compared to the things that I was creating before, I I still see
Mhm.
that that piece of my design style and voice that's carried through all of the
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's definitely been refined.
Mhm.
But, interestingly enough, like when I was starting out, well, I took a break, had the kids, I started having babies. We've got
Mhm.
3, and I was 3 under 3. I was deep in diapers. I
Mhm.
couldn't even think about making jewelry. And technically I wasn't supposed to solder when I was pregnant. So I would put my husband up to it. I'm like, hey, don't melt this, but I need you to solder it. So I was like teaching him how to solder
Mhm.
pieces when I couldn't. But also, I was kind of on a sabbatical during that season.
Mhm.
We went through kind of a tough patch. He had his own business, which had a hard stop. The business kind of folded very, very
Mhm.
quickly for some very unfortunate circumstances that were out of his control.
Mhm.
And I was pregnant with my third. So we were about to have 3 babies and um, had just bought a new house
Mhm.
and we're going to have a bigger mortgage. And we had no income. So it was sort of like,
Mhm.
okay, here we
Yeah.
go.
Mhm.
This is the moment. And we've had a bunch of these moments in our life. But this particular one, I was like, you know what? I have always dreamed of having a golden diamond line. I'm going to cash in every single thing that I've saved, every bit of my scrap. I had buckets of scrap silver and some of, my old gold jewelry from when I was a kid. I'm like, "Hey mom, hand me that stuff." She's like, "What are you going to do with it?" I'm going to melt it down and I'm going to
Mhm.
do something. I'm going to
Mhm.
start this line that I've always dreamed of. And she's like, "Oh
Yeah.
God, don't melt it." I'm like, "I'm never going to wear it again. Just give it to me." And she's like, "Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, Melissa." So, I mean, I just went all in, and I had a friend that had a jewelry store and he offered to give me a space in the
Mhm.
store to sell this new line. Cause I'm like, well, if I create this line, who am I going to sell it to? Because
Yeah.
my existing clients only know me as creating these very low end silver pieces that
Mhm.
everyone can afford. And they're not going to accept gold and diamonds that
Mhm.
are, tremendously more expensive,
Mhm.
which they didn't. And I knew that. So I was like, I need a place. Where am I going to sell this stuff? I
Yeah.
don't even know what to do. So I gave it to him. A week went by. I went back to the store and I was like, hey, why is this stuff not out on the floor? And he's like, oh, well, we had a staff meeting about your jewelry. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And he goes, oh, they all said it's too artsy for here.
Oh.
Our clients don't want that kind of jewelry. You'd be better off in a town like Asheville or California. We're not going to sell your jewelry here. And I was like, my entire life is in this tiny box.
Yeah.
Everything I've saved.
What do I do?
What am
Uh-huh.
I going to do? Like, I literally
Mhm.
was so angry. And but I was not gonna let it stop me.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this." But I sat with it, I prayed, and I'm like, "Okay, I was like, if this is what I am meant to do, then help me sell a golden diamond piece by the end of this month." So I opened an Etsy store online,
Mhm.
and the last day of the month, I sold 2 golden diamond
Oh, I
rings.
love
And
that.
I was like, okay, this is the
Yeah.
encouragement. This is all the encouragement that I need to
Mhm.
move forward with this. It's going to be okay.
Mhm.
And that just turned into this, which is not what I
Gosh.
ever anticipated,
Listen, I love
ever,
that so much.
ever.
It's always I love stories like that where it's a do or die
Yeah.
scenario where you kind of throw the gauntlet down, and
Yep.
I need to sign, Lord,
Yes.
and you take a chance, and then he shows up.
Yeah.
I love that, and then that's the little encouragement and the kick in the ass that you need to
Yes.
do the thing that you're supposed to be doing anyway.
Right.
I love that.
Well, and then, and that was sort of like, it was because I'd put so much of my heart and creativity into that
Mhm.
initial line of the golden diamond pieces,
Mhm.
and they were hammered and they were like organic, and there was all this,
Mhm.
it was it was me, but in
Mhm.
golden diamonds.
Mhm.
And to be told that
Yeah.
this isn't good. This isn't, people don't want this. And I was like, I mean, it was really hard to not believe that lie.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
like, no, I know that they do. I know they're out there, but I don't know
Mhm.
where to find them. But somehow,
Yeah.
thank God for the internet,
Yeah.
I'm going to find them.
Yeah.
And well, I found them, and they found me, and
Mhm.
they love my style and
Mhm.
that sort of vein of creativity that's run all the way through. Like, it is
Mhm.
not your status quo engagement ring.
Right.
It is not what, is being mass produced, but it's my brand. It's my
Yeah.
voice. It's
Mhm.
my heart and soul kind of poured into
Mhm.
a piece of jewelry.
I think that's such a critical character piece for a successful entrepreneur
Yeah.
is that you can sit in the frustration and the disappointment
Yes.
and you can then pick yourself up
Yep.
and be confident in who you are and what you're doing
Yeah.
and keep going. And I think that is what separates a lot of successful entrepreneurs from unsuccessful is
Yeah.
that you have it in you to just keep going.
Just keep
Just
going.
keep going.
You're
You
going to
do
hear
the
no
next. Yes.
so many
Mhm.
times. I mean, even when I was, in the beginning stages, I was, I would go door to door knocking on galleries and boutiques.
Mhm.
And I would come with my little tray of jewelry in my car and like,
Mhm.
hey, here's what I do. Do you like it? Do you want to sell it? No, 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 no.
Mhm.
Yes, I will. No, no. I mean, like, there were so many
Mhm.
no's, but I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
then there's another one down the
Just go.
street that
Yeah.
might want to,
Yeah.
like, work with me.
Yeah. Some of my favorite business stories. I'm a avid podcast listener and I listen to a lot of business podcasts. And the ones that speak to me the most are the ones who are the wildly successful entrepreneurs who tell about how many no's they got in
Oh,
the beginning.
so many.
So just hundreds and
Mhm.
hundreds, especially like when they start going after venture capital or whatever, and they have to brace themselves for the no's because that is a part of it.
Part of it.
Yeah. And
Yeah, the
having
resilience, it's
Mhm.
like the fortitude to continue forward, no matter what. It's
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, no, this is who I am, and this is
Mhm.
what I wanna do.
Mhm.
Somehow, some way, it'll work out,"
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, a little bit of blind hope and naivety and super optimistic outlook on things. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's maybe a combination of all of it, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that every artist has that kind of ability because I've talked to so many young artists that I
Mhm.
tried to kind of convey this to, but
Mhm.
I think that a lot of times artists can be very, very sensitive
Mhm.
because they are very attached to their work.
Mhm.
And so a no is like deeply rejecting, but
Mhm.
I took it as a challenge. It was never a
Mhm.
rejection to me. It was
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, okay, well,
Yeah.
let me just prove you wrong. Like,
Yeah.
let me just show you that
Yeah.
I can do this."
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I think that that really is a personality trait too, to whether or not you're gonna have the
Mhm.
ability to kind of move through all the
Mhm.
mud because there's a lot of it on the way.
There's so much mud,
Mhm.
and if you cannot find the strength to just
Yeah.
I think that's my life motto is just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Right.
I've been in some pretty, like, desperate, dark moments in business ownership, and, like, I'll talk to my mother, and she's like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm going to do the next thing. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to keep going and
Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out. And
Right.
my staff sometimes will say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to just keep going.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And if it's and if something else happens tomorrow, you know what we're going to do? We're going to keep going
Right.
until we like literally can't anymore. And I haven't reached that point yet
Yeah.
where I can't,
Well,
you
that's
know?
great because, I mean, you're too creative to not.
Well, I I find that part of my life. I have to remind myself of that part of myself of my life that I am a creative. But and then I remind myself, okay, every business decision you make involves creativity.
Oh,
You got to figure out
absolutely.
this mess of a situation that's happening. You better get creative real fast
Yes.
or you're going to drown.
Yeah.
So I just kind of I've been channeling my creative energy because I'm not in the kitchen that much anymore. I'm more on the business side
Right.
now, and I have to remind my little brain, you're still creative, Abby. You're just finding solutions to problems.
Yes.
So,
Agreed.
I don't have a lack of challenge for sure. I want to talk about marketing with you.
Sure.
I've noticed a big shift in your m- I don't I would say your marketing strategy, but just in how quickly your online presence has like blown the freak up.
Mm.
And it's been so fun for me to watch that and seeing how you do a mixture of like styled shoots and the things that you have to do, but also showing the behind the scenes and the messy, part of the studio. And
Mm-hmm.
but I want to hear from you about what your recent shift in marketing strategy has been because I don't know what you're doing differently, but I just noticed a difference in your online presence and how I want to know what you're doing and how that has affected the trajectory of your business.
Well, this was another kind of, one of those do or die moments,
Mhm.
which happened at the beginning of COVID.
Mhm.
Um, my husband had been uh, working with a large RV company with
Mhm.
Winnebago. And then at the beginning of COVID, right when it started, all these companies were doing massive layoffs.
Mhm.
He happened to be a part of that, and he had been with them for quite a long time at that point. And, my business was doing well, but it wasn't the bread and butter of
Mhm.
our daily life.
Mhm.
So he got laid off. And at first we were like, oh no, here we are again.
Mhm.
And the, I was like, James, I know that I know in like the depths of my spirit, if I hire a marketing company, I know what is possible.
Mhm.
I completely, he goes, I was like, now it's going to be a huge financial investment for us right now, especially
Mhm.
with we're going to have to dig deep to
Mhm.
put the money up for this because it is not cheap. But I just knew that if we invested in it, um, that it was going to change my business.
So was that an investment in like website and social media or what
No,
was it?
in actual actually hiring a marketing firm to come
Mhm.
in and run all of our ad campaigns, to run
Okay.
our email campaigns, to
Mhm.
run all of the backside, creating funnels for our custom design process, like literally like all of the bones of
Mhm.
marketing.
Mhm.
Um, so he said, all right, well, why don't you interview with 5 different marketing agencies and then we'll make a decision,
Mhm.
which I did. And I ended up choosing an agency that I stayed with for 5 years, and it was the rocket fuel
Mhm.
that took my business to a completely different orbit.
Excuse me. Was it a local agency?
So at the time, they were not. Nope. And I just had. because of all of the marketing things that I love to learn about. So,
Mhm.
I'm always watching these different like
Mhm.
marketing agencies and marketers. And,
Mhm.
so I had just reached out to my top favorite ones.
Mhm.
And I just went for it. And it was a big, big financial commitment. But the return it was incredible. Like
Mhm.
within the first 3 months, my business doubled, and then it just continued
Wow.
on from there. So, yes, the marketing is playing a huge part. Like, if people don't know that
Mhm.
you're doing what you're doing, then,
Mhm.
you can only move the needle so far, which is where I
Mhm.
was. I mean, I'd had a website for forever. We had done all the things,
Mhm.
but, um being able to be in a position now, it was a risk. It was a huge financial risk because
Mhm.
I was sure, I knew that it was
Mhm.
gonna result in something positive for the business, but there was also a small, small chance that it may not.
Mhm.
Um, but we had great success with it, and
Yeah.
so I would say that has been a huge part of the marketing success that we've
Mhm.
had online is because we hired an agency.
Did you say to yourself, "I'm gonna give this 30 days, 60 days to see if I'm seeing an ROI," or were you like or did you have to sign like a
Yeah, 3
6
months.
3
I did a
months?
3-month
Mhm.
contract, and by the 3rd month because there is a lot of upfront setup and,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things
To
that,
give it time.
Yep, but by month 3, my revenue had doubled, and I was like, "Okay, let's go.
That's wild.
Let's go." So we did, and, now I will say the landscape of marketing is changing now.
Mhm.
Um, it's very different than what it was, 7 or 8 years ago whenever we
Mhm.
started with the agency that we were with, and um, it was a lot easier to kind of do paid ads and that kind of thing and see a
Mhm.
very, very good
Mhm.
uh, return very quickly. Where now it's very saturated, and you know your cost per acquisition is higher.
Mhm.
There's just a lot more noise and there's a lot more competition. So
Mhm.
it still works, but you just have to be constantly shifting and changing strategy for it to have the same kind of outcome that it used to.
Are you s are so you're not with the same agency now?
Nope, not with the same agency. We've shifted, so we brought a lot of things in house, and I have
Mhm.
just kind of hired for certain things. So we've kind of
Mhm.
got a little bit more reign on it and a little bit
Mhm.
more control. But I think because I have learned so much over the years, and
Mhm.
you're constantly the one that's overseeing it, it's
Mhm.
like you have to learn because you want to know where your money's going.
Mhm.
So um, I feel like we have a good enough handle on it now that we can hire more internally and do
Okay.
those kind of things more in house versus the agency side of things. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of things are shifting, like a lot of, because with AI and with the way that marketing is,
Mhm.
then it's a lot easier to bring those things in house if you have experience with it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
What have you had to I can tell that it shifted, and I've never used a marketing agency yet. Um, but with it changing so much, what are
yeah.
you having to add to or implement now to cut through the noise of ads? Because I get overwhelmed with ads too, and I get overwhelmed with emails.
Yeah.
And we use email marketing, and I I feel like I'm crossing my fingers every day when I'm sending them, like, are they actually gonna open it, or is it
Yeah.
gonna get buried in the 500 other emails that you get? And my daughter actually picked up my phone this morning, and she was like, "Mom, why do you have 52,000 unread emails? It stresses me out to look at your phone."
My family feels the same way when they look at mine.
Yeah, I'm like, "Well, I get so many, and I physically can't
No.
process it all, so they just sit there."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are you doing to kinda cut through that and get people to actually look at what you're sending?
So I think that for me, something that I've realized over the years is that all paid marketing is very vital, and it plays a very important part.
Mhm.
But to me, I've always been very grassroots and word of mouth. So
Mhm.
that kind of, I always still see that coupled and going hand in hand. So I
Mhm.
don't put all of my faith and energy into just paid marketing
Right.
because, you know, half the time they're not going to open the email, half
Mhm.
the time they're too busy to whatever. But when you have that referral from a friend and
Mhm.
then they happen to see your ad because they heard you talking about it and your phone
Mhm.
shows up and it just
Mhm.
like puts you in front of them again. It's like
Mhm.
it all kind of like it's like a giant
Mhm.
holistic ecosphere of how it all works. And I think that I still put a lot of value and give a like, I give a discount to people that refer people to me. And,
Mhm.
it's like that part of it, I think is still it's hard to put a number on it because
Mhm.
it's not traceable or trackable, but I see it working very integrally with
Mhm.
the marketing. So I don't
Uh-huh.
see it separated. I see it all kind of like working together.
Mhm.
Um, and I think for the way that marketing is now is, you know, you have to if you're the brand, you have to be the face of it and you have to
Mhm.
talk to people and they want
Mhm.
to know what you are thinking and
Mhm.
your ideas and your creative thoughts. So doing things
Mhm.
like this, like being in front
Mhm.
of the camera and
Mhm.
I think that that's the most powerful thing that I've seen is just the content and but just in a very relatable and personal way, like because there is so much of it out there that I think that when you can just
Mhm.
make people see, like if they were just to come into my studio and they can talk to me and we can
Mhm.
have these conversations and
Mhm.
they know you're a real person and then they build trust with you. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's the most important part of all of the
Mhm.
marketing, really.
Quick break. I have to tell you about Unfilter. When I first started creating content, I had no idea how to pull all my ideas together. I was all over the place, a little short form, a little podcasting, nothing consistent. Working with Rich and the team at Unfilter changed that completely. Rich will bring order to your content chaos. Seriously, if you're a founder or creator who wants clarity and direction, go to unfilter.io. That's UNFLTR.io and schedule a call. Some coaching might be all you need to get moving.
Do you have the same experience that you get more interaction, more traction with content that you're putting out that you are on? Your face is on it,
Yeah.
you're talking to people,
Yeah.
you're being a human, and it's not just a product.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes. And that's really hard for me. Like it's
Mhm.
hard for me to um sit down and make the content, but when I do it's very very successful.
Mhm.
So I'm always telling myself, okay, you got to do this, but then there's this part where you like in my world there's like some really big jewelry influencers that have their own brand and they're
Mhm.
very polished and they're put together and they live in New York and they always look cute and they're always like
Mhm.
sporting all their jewelry and but they always look put together. Well, I'm a mom and I have
Mhm.
3 kids and I am
Mhm.
running to sports practices in
Mhm.
between studio visits and in between like ordering diamonds. So
Mhm.
half the time I don't look presentable. And
Mhm.
it took me a long time to realize, well, and this is just a recent realization, to be totally honest. I was like, oh, I'm so confident in who I am
Mhm.
that I don't care because my daughter will be like, Mom, you are going to go out in public like that? Like, have you looked in the mirror? And I'm like, I do not care. Like,
Listen, we're 50 now. We don't have to
literally,
care.
I do not care.
I think that's a shift that happens when you turn 50.
Yes, but online I do. And I didn't
Mhm.
realize that until I was having this conversation with someone, my one of my business coaches,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't put myself online because well, I haven't put on my makeup today. My hair's in
Mhm.
a messy bun.
Mhm.
I am not put together in any way shape or form." So, it's like, oh, I'll do that when. I'll
Mhm.
put myself in front of the camera and talk to people then,
Mhm.
And then I just started thinking, well, um, that's kind of like imposter syndrome. Like, and
Yeah.
I only have it towards these online jewelry, beautiful,
Mhm.
brands that are they're talking on there every day. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I could do that, but then I'd have to get ready and I'd have to put on an outfit and, like,
Mhm.
and then I was like, well, people that know me, and if I don't really care how I look and my hair isn't a messy bun and I'm working in the studio, I
Mhm.
can still talk on the camera. And so
Mhm.
I've started slowly doing more things like that where,
Mhm.
I'm putting myself in front of the camera and I'm just
Mhm.
being myself and I'm not worried because I'm not a high-end New York jewelry brand. That's not who I
Mhm.
am,
Mhm.
and um people that get to experience me in person know that,
Mhm.
but most people online don't get to experience me in person.
Mhm.
So I can be who I am and I can just show up and I
Mhm.
can let people know, those
Mhm.
things. It's a process.
I love that. I mean, I definitely connect more with people online who it's funny how we can accept that in other people
Mhm.
and we are attracted to that in other people. And when it comes to us doing it, we're like, oh no, but
Uh-uh.
you know,
Uh-huh.
I can't.
Yeah.
Look, have you looked in the mirror today? I do that all the time. And you'll take 50 different
Ah.
videos to get the perfect one. And then you're like, why am I doing this when I know that what when I stop scrolling, it's
Yeah.
usually for something that is very real, very relatable. And I will buy something from someone
Yeah.
so much faster if I feel a connection with them. And I for sure feel more connected to somebody whose hair is in a messy bun and in sweatpants than
Yes.
I do with perfectly polished because I'm never going to look like that. And so I think age does help with that a little
Oh,
bit.
it
You don't
does.
feel like you have to. But I think everybody struggles with that too. And
Yeah.
I think we have to remind ourselves, okay, what are you attracted to? Why are you afraid to do that same thing that you're so attracted to? I think
Uh-huh.
that's great.
Yeah.
And I will stop scrolling on a video of you real fast if I see your face on there. Yeah, for
Same,
sure.
same. When you do it, I do the same thing. I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
what's Abby up to today? What's she
Yeah.
talking about?" Like, what,
Mhm.
and it's the exact same thing, but I think that it takes a while to kind of put yourself into that
Mhm.
place, especially
Mhm.
when you are the brand,
Mhm.
and um, yeah, it's a little different.
Mhm. So do you have a formula for let's talk about social media now a little
Okay.
bit because I think that's different than the marketing
Yeah.
agency and the funnels and all of that. Let's talk about social media because I've noticed a shift there too
Yeah.
in your brand. Do you have have a lot of questions about it, but first of all, in the same vein of conversation, do you have a formula for how many times you want to show up on people's feeds with it being you real or the polished photo shoot carousels or,
Yeah.
what's your thought process?
Well, I think that something that I have learned with the social media is you have to give people what they want, right?
Mhm.
So, in doing that, you have to pay attention to your analytics and your
Mhm.
insights and like, okay, well, likes are great, but it's like where's the conversation? What are people like engaging
Mhm.
with? And then who is sending this to their boyfriend or,
Mhm.
who's saving this for their engagement ring? Like, so
Mhm.
those kind of things to me are more important than
Mhm.
just the likes. That's kind of erroneous information.
Mhm.
But it's the ones that are it's like, "Oh, this has resonated with them enough
Mhm.
that they're going to send this to someone." So
Mhm.
then it's easy. You just repeat it.
The same things that are
You repeat it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like if you watch people that are doing social media that are viral type creators,
Mhm.
it's like they are legitimately, they have found something that goes viral with their audience and they just repeat it, same
Mhm.
hook, same framing,
Yeah.
same everything. And they just are making a different pie in that picture instead of
Mhm.
the one that they did before. And they
Mhm.
just do it over and over.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes they're even using the same audio. Um,
Yeah.
it's crazy how that works. So I think that when you find something that resonates with your audience
Mhm.
is just kind of paying attention. You really have to pay attention
Mhm.
with the social media. It's like you can't just push out a bunch of stuff for the sake of putting it out there.
Mhm.
It really has to be. very strategic.
Mhm.
And once you realize what your audience is engaging with, then you just do more of that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Do you do your social media yourself, or do you have somebody doing it for you?
Yeah, I've had somebody doing it for years.
And
And that I had somebody doing from the beginning because
okay.
I hated doing the social
Mhm.
media. Like I was real late to the game with like Instagram and all the
Mhm.
things. And I realized, oh, I kind of do have to do this if I'm going to be an
Mhm.
online business. Like
Mhm.
I really do have to. So now we're very omnipresent. So we're on 7 channels a day. And it's just but I've always had someone
Mhm.
running that since the beginning. Like,
So your success rate with somebody running socials and then somebody running like email marketing
yeah,
and ads and
yeah.
what's what which are they about equal as far as what's bringing you business?
Um, in the beginning, well, I say in the beginning, but in the beginning of the Golden Diamond line. So, like, let's say,
Mhm.
let's back up 15 years.
Mhm.
That I would say 60% of my business I could attribute to coming from Instagram. Now it's a lot harder to put a pin on that and say,
Mhm.
oh, well, this amount of business is coming from there.
Mhm.
Definitely is still a very large portion of my business.
Mhm.
Pinterest, yes, Pinterest is a great place because people love to save their rings and make wedding
Mhm.
boards and
Mhm.
all that. So Pinterest is good for us. And we don't run ads on Pinterest anymore. It's just organic marketing. So
Mhm.
some is paid, some is organic, and some
Mhm.
is hard to track where they're actually coming from. But I would
Mhm.
say there's sort of uh, to me, it's pretty 50-50. Like
Mhm.
50% is coming from paid and
Mhm.
50% is coming from just all of our organic
Mhm.
socials.
Yeah. Even though it's hard to track, I think just having brand recognition across so many
Yeah.
channels and you're popping up
Yep.
in all these places, that's
Yes.
how I get influenced to buy stuff online. That's half of the
Absolutely.
stuff on my bathroom counter is because I've seen it in
And then you see it again, and
everywhere,
then you forget it, and then
everywhere.
you see it again.
Mhm.
And that's the
Yep.
yeah, I mean, we're just inundated with way too many things now.
Mhm.
So I think that if you do stay very top of mind for people,
Mhm.
then it's ease. It's
Mhm.
the ease of shopping
Yeah.
when it's you see it.
Yeah. So, um you said you brought a lot of your marketing in-house. But you outsource social media management, or is that in-house too?
That has come back in-house too.
Okay.
I wanted a little bit more creative control over it,
Mhm.
and so by bringing it in-house, we can curate it a little bit better. Like we have some
Mhm.
really good systems set up for, how we were doing it when it was outsourced, but
Mhm.
it still was just kind of missing a few things that I feel like now we have a little bit better handle on
Mhm.
when it is in-house because, it's a it does have to have a lot of heart and soul, and that's very
Mhm.
hard to convey to
Mhm.
someone that is on a marketing team.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, no offense or anything, but that's a man and that
Mhm.
doesn't really get a
Mhm.
romantic, beautiful
Mhm.
woman vibe,
Mhm.
and it's like that an engagement ring, and this is a very emotional
Yeah.
purchase for people.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very personal, very much about their own style and aesthetic kind of piece. But when your social media kind of encapsulates that heart behind it and then like the feeling, it's easier. I've had better success with women running the social media
Mhm.
in that way because they just get it in a
Mhm.
way that when we've had men running it, it's just not been the same
Yeah.
connection
Yeah.
point. And I mean, it just because it's like a woman is dreaming and they're like imagining and they're
Mhm.
in this place of just
Mhm.
awe and wonder
Mhm.
and I think that having a woman running our social media just can connect with their heart a little
Mhm.
bit easier.
Yeah. Well, and connect with your heart as
Mine too.
owner because,
Correct. Yes. And
it's
understand what I'm saying and just kind of get
mhm.
the vibe
Yeah.
that we need to kind of portray. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
how are you fighting the age of all the captions being AI generated and all of that? It drives me crazy.
Yeah. So this is so funny. Before AI came on the scene, we spent, oh, I don't know, maybe I spent 3 to 6 months working on um, a year's worth of captions content. So
Mhm.
I went through like there was another marketing agency. I bought one of their like content calendars that offered
Mhm.
prompts and then it just sparked questions. So I went through and I answered everyone
Mhm.
in my voice, saved them all. We still use those. That's
Mhm.
still what we use
That's
for a
smart.
lot of
Mhm.
our captioning because I did realize that then I'm like, if I'm the brand voice, but the captions are just generic, then
Mhm.
that doesn't really make sense. So, yeah, we still use my captions.
Love
Occasionally,
that.
we'll use some AI ones just on a more generic post or something
Mhm.
like that. But for the most part, they're ones that took me a long time to really write out
Mhm.
and answer as if I was just having a conversation with
Mhm.
people. So,
Yeah.
I think that that is super, super helpful and we still use it. And even
Mhm.
though AI is what it is, we're still using our
Mhm.
year and a half worth of content
That's great.
calendar that we had created. So it
Yeah.
took a little while to put together and to answer all of those questions, but it
Mhm.
was worth it.
I think that I hope that we're gonna level out a little bit with the AI nonsense and that we're gonna figure out the ways to use it that don't crush us
Creatives.
as creative as a
Yeah.
human,
Yeah.
and that what's going to make us stand out, what's going to differentiate us from everything else is that you can still hear Melissa Tyson when you read
Right.
the caption or when you read the email, and
And I
maybe.
think that that's where it comes to us showing up and just talking to people,
Mhm.
I mean, that's the human element that,
Mhm.
I was watching a real big business guy that was talking about AI and the impact that it's going to have. And he said, well, in the rise of AI, what that's going to do is bring people back to
Mhm.
desiring humanity
Yeah,
and
I hope
needing
so.
that human connection.
Mhm.
I don't know how long it'll take, but we can be at the forefront of that
I
because,
know. We're
here
going to
we are.
fight
We're
it.
having our human connection,
I
right? Like this
know.
is the thing that's the most important
Yeah.
is people and, having actual face-to-face conversations
Mhm.
and yeah.
Well, I
So,
know I'm gonna fight it. I mean, my it's so funny because my all 3 of my businesses are won't be successful if we lose human connection, right? I am
mhm,
in the hospitality business. That is about bringing people together and
right.
having these incredible experiences, and
Yes.
how can I market that when I'm not using human connection to market that? And so, but it's so easy to get
Yeah.
to fall over into it, and it was just so easy to let it write things for me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a conscious thing for us to just make a decision,
Yeah.
right? I am not going to do that. I am
Yeah.
going to maintain my voice. I'm going to maintain creativity in my life so I feel like AI makes us dumb. I feel like GPS makes us dumb, all these things that we don't have to think anymore.
Right.
But I'm fighting for it just because the heart of my business is human connection.
Right.
So I would never want to try and propel it forward without using that
Yeah.
as the catalyst. But
Yeah. And I think that there are times when, it does help, especially when you're a very busy business owner and you
mhm.
are running multiple businesses and you've got all these things going on. There is a time and place for it where it does kind of lessen the workload of the
Mhm.
monotony of some of the things that we
Mhm.
have to do. So
Mhm.
I think that there are wise ways to use AI within
Mhm.
your business, but when, it always does have to have that human touch.
Mhm.
And so even if you are utilizing it to help you put together a newsletter or something along those lines, like as
Mhm.
long as you go back in and you put you know, your
Your
touch
stamp on
onto
it.
it,
Mhm.
then I think that it's okay,
Mhm.
because I mean, let's face it, we're only one person,
Right.
right? So, you can only do so much
Mhm.
in the span of all the things,
Yeah,
So, there is a good place for it, but I think that you definitely need your own voice
for
to
sure.
be the leading
Mhm.
piece for your
Mhm.
business?
Okay, I want to talk about Paris Fashion Week too,
Ooh, love
because
talking
I
about that.
think when I first saw the first time you went, I was so proud of you and
Oh,
just like rooting for you and seeing that process. What was it? I want to know how you got there
okay.
and what it felt like when the day you knew that you were going.
hmm Um, so this is kind of it was a wild set of circumstances. Like this was not an aspiration of mine. I had
Mhm.
no desire for being in the fashion world, fashion week, like
Mhm.
not on my radar. Um, not something that I aspired towards. Like I was very happy and content with my business the way that it was, and
Mhm.
I loved it. I didn't need
Mhm.
or even know that that was even a thing.
Mhm.
I got scouted. So I got an email asking for me to submit my collection for Paris Fashion Week. And this was a couple years ago.
Did you think it was a spam email at
I
first?
mean,
I would
I get
think.
a lot of emails, but some of them I'll entertain. But yeah, I do always double check like the send
Mhm.
address.
Mhm.
Like, how many letters does this have in it? Is this an actual legitimate sending address? So it was. So I was like, okay, well, I'll respond. Um, and we went through 3 rounds of submissions and finally got the email that we had been accepted. And I kind of freaked out and was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. And so I like ran to my husband and I'm like, James, what should we do? And he's like, I don't know. Have you asked God? I'm like, that's a great idea. I think I'll do that. So I just sat and I did some listening prayer and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, God, what do you think about this? And I felt like he said, it's time to fly, butterfly. So I wrote it in my journal and
Mhm.
closed my journal. And 8 months later, we were in Paris. We were at the fitting day for Fashion Week.
Mhm.
I was sitting in a room with some accessory designers, and there was all the clothing designers were in a separate room. And there was like a head stylist, and they were like, okay, well, we're going to kind of put you together with a clothing designer. So I was waiting. It was like a long day. I'd given my stuff to one designer that I liked her stuff. It wasn't my favorite, but I was like, okay, like this is
Mhm.
great. And she's like, well, if you have more pieces, then you can get selected by another designer to show with. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh well, let me pick a few of those. So I took a few of my
Mhm.
favorite pieces and put them back out and waited. And she goes, the head stylist came out hours. I mean, this was hours and hours had gone by and she comes out with a designer and she said, this is the only jewelry that's going to work with your clothing. And the girl was like, are you sure? And she said, no, I'm 150% sure this is it. This is the only jewelry that you can
Mhm.
show with your dresses. So she was like, oh, can I have some of your pieces? And we're going to dress a model and come back out for the photographers. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I gave them a bunch of stuff. They come back out and the the model walks past me and she lifts up her arms like this. And the way that the dress hung off of her arms, she looked like a butterfly. And I
No.
burst into tears right in
Oh.
the middle of Fashion Week. And I was like, oh my gosh, God, you're everywhere. You're
Mhm.
here with me in this moment. And I know that I know that I know that
Mhm.
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it was just like, that sort of was it was sort of like that, selling 2 rings at the end of the month kind of confirmation that I
Mhm.
needed to know that I was in the right place because I'm like, what am I doing here?
Mhm.
And it was like, oh no, you're here for a reason.
Mhm.
And so, 3 years later, and it's been a wild ride and
That's
it's been
amazing.
so fun. And I mean, I love it. I
Mhm.
really love it.
So once you're in, are you in? Do you go every year?
Yeah, so we've been going twice a year for 3 years.
Wow.
And we've been taking the kids and we usually take other people
Mhm.
with us and it's just
Whole thing.
it's a whole thing, but it's been so fun and every time is different and there's
Mhm.
new people and for me it's more because it wasn't anything that I aspired towards and I
Mhm.
wasn't needing to be found or looking to be found or
Mhm.
it's a really interesting world. Fashion Week is like it's very exciting and there's like a buzz and you can feel it in the air and there's lights and there's camera and just
Mhm.
so many cool things happening. But so many of the people there are trying to make it.
Mhm.
And it's a real like cutthroat kind of
Mhm.
like there's a lot of emptiness. There's a lot of like, well, I need to be found. I
Mhm.
don't.
Mhm.
That's not my intention and that's not
Mhm.
my heart. And I feel very called to be there. And I feel
Mhm.
very much like we're there to bring something that is very devoid in that
Mhm.
world, which is just kindness and human
Mhm.
connection and
Mhm.
like looking people in the eye and like just that real heart to heart kind of connection.
Mhm.
So we've had some really cool experiences since we've been going, but because I don't need it.
Mhm.
It it's just fun.
Yeah,
It's just fun. Like
that's
anything that
amazing.
happens is just exciting and it's fun, but
It's a
it's not.
bonus.
It's a bonus. It's
Mhm.
just a fun bonus, and I
It's a
love
pretty
it.
kick-ass bonus.
It's a kick-ass bonus, and
Yeah.
it's a write-off. I mean,
Yeah. I
you
love
know,
that.
going to Milan and Paris and being able to write the whole trip off, I mean,
That's pretty special.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to get a catering gig over there.
In Paris,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say no to it.
yeah, I mean, I'll bring you along.
We did a wedding, a few months ago with a planner who it was their first wedding in Wilmington, and it was over the top. They are international wedding planners, and so after that wedding, I was like,
Hey,
"Listen,
I will
we
travel.
we can travel to
Yes.
Greece, we can travel to Spain,
Yes, you can.
we will come with you.
And, because why not?
Why not?"
Why not?
That's like you get to a place where you're looking for those moments that
Yeah,
aren't your staple, like, pay the light bill things. They're
right.
just they're the extra thing that you get to do when after you've proven
Yes.
yourself.
And then it makes life exciting,
Yeah.
right? Then it's not the monotony of the
Mhm.
everyday kind of business. But, part of what I love is adventure and I love to
Mhm.
travel and I love culture. And, so to be able to sort of have that woven into
Mhm.
business
Mhm.
is just fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Yeah. One of the things I notice about you and your business, and one of the things that I have tried to implement in mine is that you start a thing and you think you know what it's going to be, right? And
Mm,
you have an identity, and that's very important to kind of steer you, right?
yeah.
But business is going to evolve. It's going to take on a life of its own, and if you hold really tightly to it, you're not going to experience those things.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed with you how you're, like we talked about, your what even what you make is so different now,
Yeah.
and you find yourself in situations in life that kind of force you into new things.
Hmm.
And if you're like, no, but what I do is make silver jewelry with scriptures on it, and you don't allow the space in your life for things to grow
Yeah.
and evolve and become what God created it to be,
Yeah.
then you would never find yourself at Paris Fashion Week
Right.
doing the thing that
Right.
you would have never dreamed that you could do.
Right.
And I have told people on multiple occasions who've asked me about my businesses and how they started versus where they are now, and I'm like, I when I started Salt and Charm, I was a private chef with one client. I never would have.
Yeah.
I didn't set out for it to be what it is now,
Right.
but I let the business lead me there while I was being true to who I am as an artist and a human,
Yeah.
and let it go where it needed to go. Kind of like released it out to
Yes.
into the water and, like, followed it along.
That's it.
But so it's cool for me to see you, and when every time you go to Paris, I'm just like, look at her go."
It's so fun.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's just, yeah, love it.
Mhm. Last thing I wanna ask you about is, motherhood
Mm,
and entrepreneurship.
okay.
What is important for you for your kids to learn
Mm.
from you as they watch you do what you're doing and running a business and being badass? What it at the end of the day, what do you want them to get out of it? What do you want them to learn?
I think, what I want them to learn is I want them to see that if you put your heart and your soul and you work hard,
Mhm.
then you can live your dreams. And
Mhm.
whatever that may be, like
Mhm.
right now, currently, none of my kids are interested in making jewelry. Okay, that's
Mhm.
fine. But whatever it is that you dream of
Mhm.
being, know that it's possible and that there's like, I want them to take the piece that I want them to take away is that you can do something that brings you joy and you
Mhm.
can do something because I feel like that, we're created to live a life abundantly. And
Mhm.
when we do that, that in itself is a window into the heart of God. Like it shows like
Mhm.
what is possible, that it doesn't have to be the drudgery of
Mhm.
something that you hate. I mean,
Mhm.
I think there's a season where you do have to work hard and there's things that
Mhm.
you have to do where you've got to pull up your bootstraps
Mhm.
and, maybe work 3 jobs like I did in the
Yeah.
beginning. And that's okay, but
Yeah.
always knowing that you're going to have that thing that you love, that you're passionate about, and
Mhm.
that, uh, yeah, I mean, I would just want them to find something that they're passionate about. And I
Mhm.
think we've taken them to every fashion week that we've been to. And so,
Mhm.
and we're typically the only ones in there with kids.
Mhm.
And I love that. I
Mhm.
love that we're getting to bring them along and that they
Mhm.
can see me in that capacity.
Mhm.
Like, that's a pretty proud mom moment, I would
For
say.
sure.
Yeah.
And being able to teach them too that, okay, getting to where I am now
Yeah.
is not magic.
No.
It's hard work and here's everything that I had to do.
Right. Oh, they
So,
see me working day in and day
yes,
out. They
and that's
see that.
I think
So,
a lot of kids don't get to see that and
right.
they think that they can graduate college or graduate high school and
And
then
suddenly be the thing.
be the thing and have
Right.
all the money and
Yep.
it's hard work.
I think that's more of this generation, the younger
Mhm.
generation. They just think, oh, well, I'm going to snap my fingers and I'm going to
Mhm.
be that. I'm like,
Right.
oh, this has been a 25-year
Right.
journey. This didn't just
Mhm.
happen overnight. Like, this is,
Mhm.
you know, there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that have
Yeah.
gone into this process
Yeah.
of what it's become,
Mhm.
which, yeah,
For sure.
was not an overnight success.
No, it rarely is.
No.
Rarely. Well, I want to close this out by saying this to you. The first piece of your jewelry I ever bought was a little silver pendant that said in a circle around it, her children shall rise up and call her
Oh,
blessed.
I
And
remember that
mhm,
one.
and I see that for you, not just in your children that you birthed and grew, but everybody who watches you as an example. You are an example of grace and grit, determination, and staying true to who you are and listening to the voice of your creator as you were creating. And I believe with all my heart that your kids are going to say that,
Mm.
and all of us who've watched you say that you are an example. And I just love you so much.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
And I appreciate thank you for coming on and sharing your story and just being such a light.
Well, like you saying that, that's like, and I know you and I haven't talked in quite some time, but
Mhm.
I've been doing a lot of transformative work in the last couple of years and really dialing down on what is my unique identity
Mhm.
and what I believe that I have discovered in the last couple of years that God calls me a mother of many. So for you to say that is like, ah, it's, yeah,
I love it and
yeah.
I see that in you for sure.
Mm,
So,
thanks.
thank you.
It's very confirming to, what I um, have always been, but now I just have words for it, you know.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate you very much.
You too.
We shouldn't wait this long to see
But
each
yeah,
other again.
let's not wait 5 years before
I
we have
feel
a
like it has
conversation.
I know, I feel like it has been that
Well, it has
long.
because only we've had these like little fleeting passing
I
moments
know.
at an event or here or there, and we're like, oh
Mhm.
hey, hug, hug,
Mhm.
like how are good,
Yeah.
good. But it's like
Yeah.
we haven't gotten down to the heart of anything in years.
I
So,
know.
but I love that we can just go there.
Yeah.
Like I love that about you.
Well, we should get out from the microphone and go have wine or
I
coffee
would love
and
that.
continue.
I would love that. Yeah.
So
I mean, there's not, we have to stick together, us women that are
I
doing
know,
these
doing
things,
things.
because we are kind of a little bit isolated, like you're
Mhm.
in your space and I'm in mine. And
Mhm.
then, we forget that we need connection and
Yeah.
community, because we need the support of each other in
Mhm.
these places, because not everyone that's our employees or the people that are
Yeah.
around us or even our families can really understand the things that,
Mhm.
it takes to
Yeah.
do what we're doing. So having that encouragement and support from other
Yeah.
business owners that are doing it,
Mhm.
and it's just, I don't know, I feel like we need each other, and
Yeah.
that is something that we need to be better at, staying
For sure. More
connected.
intention. I think if I'm really honest, I feel like that's a big part of why I'm doing this
I love
project
that.
is because it's a little bit of a forced connection for me
Yes.
because I do get so bogged down in the day to day running businesses and being a mom and then it's years and when I haven't sat down with another business owner or another especially another female business owner because we are all everywhere
Yes.
doing so many things and that's part of it, that's part of life, but if we're not intentional about it so this is a little bit selfish on my part to have this outlet where I can it's on my schedule that I'm going to sit across from some really amazing people
Right.
and share what is real and what is raw and honest about what we're doing and reconnect. So,
I love that. Well,
yeah. Maybe
thanks.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining me on Business from Scratch. Follow the show for more honest conversations about building a business that works for you.